machine. I wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie. And I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a golden gun inside of me. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else. And if I fall behind, ignoring all the signs, and if I lose the fight, I still rage against the I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. Simple, dear, I'll still be here when you're gone. You gather souvenirs, but I will never be your pawn, your pawn, your pawn. My love was in ever again. I lay with
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Wednesday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Wednesday. Welcome, everybody. Charlie Martini, Sisvian Task, Moanep. How's it going, everybody? And thank you for being here. Set my phone to charge. Thank y'all. Once again, thank you for your support yesterday on this space. Thank you for hanging out during the show. Despite all the technical difficulties, we made it. We made it through. Hopefully it won't cause us too much trouble. Hopefully it won't cause us too much trouble today. We'll have to see how things go. Perhaps this weekend I can do some testing with another machine and see if it's actually the computer itself or if it's actually my camera. Heat, how's it going? Is that a Halo sticker? It is. Big Halo fan. Been playing the game since 2001 when it first came out in November. Very cool. Thank you. And these headphones are gaming headphones that supposedly come with some kind of wireless setup, but it doesn't work with my microphone, so I've just kept it wired. It's probably better for sound anyways. The show was kind of mad though. It was okay. I mean, I'm a big Halo fan. And it was okay. I mean, I can't expect gaming. I can't expect TV shows to translate, or the TV world to translate, or from video games to TV, if that makes sense. You know, it's okay. Personally, I was entertained. I just come into it knowing that, like, it's not like the game. Some do it better, yeah. Think Fallout. Fallout not only stuck to the lore, to the material, but it's actually a pretty good. It's like the show has a mostly unique storyline, but it does take and it does adhere more to the source material than the Halo TV show, if that makes sense. All right, folks, it's time to get started. Sure does. Yeah, I think so. I mean, Fallout. As far as like, as far as like keeping up with like the source material and adhering to the lore, Fallout does a much better job. Nadia, welcome. Did you see that the SMOC has completely reversed? There's no way there was an advanced knowledge of it in the military, especially given its climate panic, contrary to its right-wing nature. No, but that is pretty concerning, given. Um, I'm getting. I'm getting mixed results. With the with how this is going down, um but I would say that we definitely should keep we should definitely keep an eye on that. Because that is disturbing. I mean, one thing is for sure, the stability of the planet is teetering, to say the least. The stability of the planet's ecosystems are teetering. And just to be clear, if something like that happens, like the ocean currents reversing, even if it's just for a moment, or if there's a breakdown in these currents, whether it be a change in reversal or just a outright breakdown because of the way the planet works, if there's not enough, it depends on the winds, the salinity, the actual ocean as well. The temperatures of the ocean also affect how these currents go. Uh, if any of that starts to become to the point where it does things like that, like disrupt massive, crucial current systems, ocean currents, it's FUBAR. There's no reversal of that. It's GG's if that well, not if we don't change, it's a matter of when. When the oceans stop absorbing 90% of the incoming heat, the speed of warming goes up by a factor of 10. Yes. The ocean is a humongous carbon sink. It is absorbing uh, a massive amount of the global warming. That's where it's all going. It's going to the ocean. The problem with that is the ocean also gets hotter, which just kind of kicks off the chain of a whole bunch of dominoes that you do not want falling. It's a little more specific than the current reversing. It's more of a pattern where warm surface waters descend to the depth and cold deep waters rise to the surface beyond just lateral motion. Yeah, and if you get a breakdown of these things, it changes the whole game. I mean, the reason why we have weather patterns, uh, the reason why we have weather patterns the way we do is because of the wind and the ocean currents. They are the ones that drive the weather. Whole species being wiped out, leading to other species and others. Yeah, I mean, like the dominoes, the domino effect of the breakdown of these very crucial systems is incalculable. It's incalculable. I don't want to be that guy, but it's GG's if when uh stuff like this happens. I mean, it's the truth. The carbon sequestration effectively, by effectively descending to depth, is basically how a lot of toxin dispersals have to be waited for, like PFAS. Yep. Not how to pronounce that. Phthalates, neonicotinoids, etc. Yeah, I don't want to be that guy, but situation is FUBAR at that point. And we're like barreling we're barreling at that at we're barreling towards that at breakneck speed. This is why Trump's spokesperson for the ruling class is floating annexing Canada and Greenland when uniting with Russia. It's hard to say. I mean, it's hard to say if they even believe in any of this to be making moves like that for that reason. It's possible that they are entirely aware. Um, I mostly thought of the Greenland stuff mostly as like a mineral thing, and Canada mostly as a, I don't know, an imperialistic ambition. right, folks, let's get started. Thank you all for being here. If you want to support the channel, keep doing what you're doing. Like the stream, share, spread the word, bring a friend. If you want to support the channel directly, check out the merch store, hit the exclamation mark tip, Substack, join the Discord, check out this space. Have you checked out this space? You should. There's something there for everyone. Last night, we got the privilege of watching Andrea do her speed runs of Crash Bandicoot. I guarantee there's something for everyone on this space. Holy City, they are aware that's why they want to acquire Greenland, Canada, and the Panama Canal. I mean, it's quite possible that they're aware, and just kind of putting putting the cult on this ruse that climate change doesn't exist. Meanwhile, secretly acknowledging that it exists and trying to kind of capitalize on it. I'm not sure, but it is a possible or plausible theory. Neither Canada nor Greenland would make any sense to spend any effort on if they weren't getting defrosted by the greenhouse effect. Oh, I mean, that's happening. 100%. 100%. John Lithium, welcome. It's a great game. Yeah, she did the first Crash Bandicoot last night in about 53 minutes. In about 53 minutes. Naomi Klein's latest work explains it well. Naomi Klein does do good work. Just got done listening to Lance's debate with Jesse Singal. What a slog! I'm sorry you had to listen to Jesse Singal. Panama's less related than the Arctic naval affairs. I've never speedrun a game on purpose, but I recall spending many hours on Earthworm Jim and Mario Kart for SNES. I saw a game store post where I got my secondhand handheld PC, and they got the original Nintendo, the original before the SNES, and they got the SNES and a couple of games. They also had the N64. Rainbow Road, Jesus. I used to have that too. Nice. Spoiled. My first gaming system was the old Nintendo brick. The old Game Boy, the original Game Boy. The gray brick. That was my first introduction to gaming. And it came with, I forget what type of Super Mario. If I can find it, I'm pretty sure it was just called Super Mario Land. I think. Is Apple II considered a gaming system? Did the Apple at that point was able to play games? Yeah, it was like that dark brown screen. The Fall of Civilization podcast does a good job of explaining the reality of how Easter Island fell versus the myth that they did it to themselves. That is fascinating. I gotta check that out. Fall of Civilizations. YouTuber? Got it. I was thinking it was some kind of like Netflix series or something. I think this is it. Could do watch parties. We could. Pretty sure this one is it right here. Yeah, that's it. That's not Easter Island. For the TLDR, the Spaniards cleared all the land to graze sheep. The Easter Islanders didn't cut down all the trees for the sake of creating the statues and weren't the ones who cut them all down. That probably makes a lot more sense, honestly. Bipedal meatbag. The Epstein client list is just the executive branch. Yeah, I mean, the Epstein client list is simultaneously on Pam Bondi's desk, but also now all of a sudden doesn't exist. Fascinating. Fascinating stuff. Left my Game Boy in a hot car. After that, it was afflicted with a vertical stripe on the screen. Yikes. My old brick still works. My old brick still works somehow. It is unclear how all this time it's managed to still turn on and play. It's a bit finicky, and I think my sister took it apart and did some stuff to it. But it apparently still functions. And I still have my original copy of Pokemon Blue from the 90s. I just put a new battery. And I also have... Oh, it's actually right here. This is my copy. This is my original copy of Pokemon Silver from the early 2000, I guess. And I put a new battery in it, and it works. It works just like it did 20 plus years ago. 20 plus years ago. My first handheld gaming system is the Switch. The Switch is actually pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I still have the Switch. And by me I mean Mrs. Truth. It plays Zelda, and that's really what matters. And my phone. Yep, my phone's a pretty good handheld. That's actually a pretty on spot comment. The only vestige of bipartisanship left is the membership in Epstein's client list. We know Bill Clinton was there too. Yeah, probably. He's not. I'm pretty sure. He's very much implicated. I know for a fact that he was on the Black Book, right? The flight log, wasn't he? I'm like 99% sure his name is in the flight log of the Lolita Express. It was the family Switch, but I kind of took it over. Nice. Once I bought the Steam Deck, I found I never had the time to use it. The Steam Deck was actually on my list. I ultimately went with the ROG Ally, the older one. But the Steam Deck was definitely on my short list. More evidence of who the us and them are. Yep. I mean, I got it secondhand, and it works. Not gonna lie, it works. It's about as powerful as the Steam Deck. But it was secondhand, so the dock that came with it didn't work very well. So yeah, but it is what it is. The ROG Ally, for what it is, the old what, like couple years now at this point, works fairly well. I can play Fallout on it. I've got Fallout 3. Definitely play Doom on it. If you don't know Amnesia, that is another one of my all-time favorite games. It is a very scary game. It is quite possibly one of the best horror games that is out there. But I do warn, if you're not into horror, it does mess with you. So just be warned. But anyways, the point is, it plays all these older games. I mean, like, that game is from like 2008. I want to say Amnesia, The Dark Descent. There's a couple of sequels. I haven't played them. Amnesia, the original, The Dark Descent, is the GOAT. That is the GOAT of horror games as far as I'm concerned. I did also download Dead Space. I've never played Dead Space, so that's gonna also go on the list. And it runs on this little thing. For it being a handheld PC, after seeing what the Steam Deck can do, because that definitely was on the list, and they actually had the store that I was talking about. The store that I was talking about, that sells like all these retro stuff and secondhand systems, including like little Nintendo handhelds. In fact, this one over here is my old, my childhood SP. 2002. Jesus Christ. They did have a Steam Deck with the OLED with the OLED screen, which is probably the Steam Deck that I would go. They had it secondhand, so that would be something that I was thinking about. Not much storage on the Steam Deck unless you spring for the 1 terabyte at 700. No, ain't no way. Ain't no way. I don't have that. I don't have that. I don't have that. I don't have the 700 for that. So it's part of the reasons why. I mean, buying it like new, I couldn't. I can't. Buying it new, either device, buying it new is just not a thing. Not a thing. Are you going to do game streams again? Good question. The answer to that is maybe. Maybe. I wonder why Taylor Lorenz is poo-pooing its significance rather than condemning the rank-and-file right's gross misinterpretation of it all and twisting the Mossad's role into anti-Semitism fodder. Who is Taylor Lorenz? I feel like that name is so familiar. Mostly playing older games. I'm not worried about storage space, stuff like older Fallouts. Yeah, I have Fallout 3 um, is the one that I'm going towards. I'm starting to play Dune Awakening. I stopped going to arcades in 1985. The last time I went to a legit arcade was a couple years ago, before leaving the state of Florida. They had an arcade. She's a YouTuber, but really a journalist. Gotcha. I feel like I've seen her stuff before. Taylor is a journalist. She covered the attacks on Keffels, which I think ultimately called upon the UDA. Gotcha. She was the one that confronted Marjorie Taylor Greene, wasn't it? She was the one that confronted Marjorie Taylor Greene in that, like, I think it was like a semi-viral clip that was like discourse for a while. Oh, you know what another game that I also need to play that I've never played is the BioShock series. The BioShock series. Gotcha, understood, Nadia. 150 gigs. Jesus. I've got. I mean, like, let me be clear. The old Ally, the one that I have, isn't like the top of the top. It's the 512 gigabyte version, and I feel like I'm kind of short on space. I'm gonna be honest. I would say that you could add a SD card on top here, but I've seen and I've heard that the way Asus decided to do this position of the SD card, some have gotten fried. So I don't know if I want to try that unless I have like a cheap SD card. It's not like I pushed this thing anyways, but just a thought. Ladybug, welcome. She's gone viral on a number of occasions. Keffel's bit was what got my attention because it was basically around proving to me anyway that she was pro-trans enough. Gotcha. Gotcha. Graphics are great on 4K too. I gotta see that. What's the name of the game? Dune. Let me scroll back up. Dune Awakening. Nice. All right, we'll put that on the list. I mean, it's not like I have a ton of more games in the backlog anyways. I'm looking at Fallout 4, $20 or $40 for all the DLC. $40 is actually not that bad. But you know, I bought Fallout like a year. Less than a year when it came out, 2016. And yeah, looks like it does save some money. There's a Steam sale going on, the Steam Summer Sale. Yeah, I mean, the only place that I would say to buy video games from would probably be Steam and Good Old Games, or GOG, or GOG. Now, with GOG, you get to actually keep the game. You download the file and it's yours forever. I have a strategy game that's probably older than 20 plus years. I've had that same file, that same .exe file, and I managed to get it to run on my phone. I managed to get it run on my on every single one of my computers. I mean, like, yeah, GOG and Steam is probably the only places where I would say buy games. I mean, like, I'm more of an Xbox person as far as like the ecosystem goes, but I feel like if I can buy a game on Steam, I would probably do it there before I buy it on Xbox, unless it's like a exclusive that I can't get anywhere else. Your friend, what is the strategy game called? Empire Earth. Look it up. Look it up on GOG, or just look it up on Google. It's Empire Earth. And it's a couple bucks. I mean, it's like a 20-something plus year old game. Eager with the tier 1 sub. Hello. Have a wonderful day. Take a deep breath. Drink some delicious water. I don't have water. But I do have a soda, so I will do that. I read Friend, so it is what it is. Sparkling water if you have it, because I'm that person. Well, I do have sparkling water, or yeah, I do. But the sparkling water that I have is from Costco. There had been already sequels to Dune written by my day, the only 10 years after it was written, but pumping out sequels was already then considered decent into trashy commercialization. I drink with my pinky up. My dad did it when I was a kid, and I just copied him. Yeah, when you're fancy, you're fancy. All right, let's get started. let's finally get started, folks. Okay.
We're going to see 10,000 new ICE bounty hunters, essentially. Don't know what the apparatus is to hire that many people. I can imagine it's not going to be, the vetting is not going to be particularly stringent. I think it's probably going to be something to the effect of, like, do you have your own nightstick? Okay.
Are they still offering those signing bonuses?
$10,000 per signing bonus. I mean, this is going to be
bourgeois. How long has the guy been dead for, and wasn't he right-wing in various ways, like aristocracy, eugenics? Who, the writer for Dune? I have no idea. But it does kind of make sense in the context of the older Dune novels. Longest bunny trail ever. Frank Herbert wrote 6 books and then his son took over. Gotcha. Dune Writer was a right-winger. Yeah, I mean, it does kind of make sense when you think about the ideology and motivations of well, I read most, like when I was reading Dune, I read most of the books where the Simex, the robot brains, the Robo brains, were introduced. Not like the OG Dune, but I think these novels came out later. But yeah, you can kind of pick up the vibes with how the Simex or Simics, I don't know how they pronounce it, the Robo Brain guys, how their ideology is. And again, if I was a very stubborn printer enthusiast about why he broke his printer and cost us $1,500 to fix, have a day. Well, good luck. YouTube thought my last post about ice was too extreme. Gotcha. Yeah. And that Hassan crossover was phenomenal.
I think it's probably going to be something to the effect of like, do you have your own nightstick? Okay.
Are they still offering those signing bonuses?
$10,000
Cymec.
per signing bonus.
Yeah, because it's a mech, right? Cymec.
I mean, this is going to be like, it's basically a dipshit hiring program.
Oh, language, Sam.
Not just the dipshits, but ones who have absolutely zero sense of humanity.
That's Trump's DEI, dipshit, equity, and inclusion.
Exactly. Here is Tom Homan about a week and
wrong ice is melting.
half ago talking about what we will get if this big Republican reconciliation bill passes.
The media's been hitting me up lately. Well, Homan's lying. They're not arresting just criminals and public safety threats. They're arresting non-criminals.
That's true. Anything that he says after this statement is a lie. Anything after that statement is a lie because it's true. I mean, we've seen it. Like, he's basically saying that you shouldn't believe what we're watching. You shouldn't believe the videos that we're watching, the reports that we're getting, the first-hand accounts from family of these people. Yeah, it makes sense. Sigh. Traitors to the human race. Yep. Dipe shits. Dipe shits. Deep shits. I think Dune must shut down all before his son wrote much of it. Gotcha.
What they're afraid to tell you is, yeah, they're in the country illegally, so they're on the table too.
That's just so gross, man.
Pause it. I just want to be clear on something.
So
If you are in the country without documentation, so-called illegally, you are not a criminal. It is a civil violation. You are no more a criminal
Michael Hassler, welcome.
if you come into this country without documentation or overstay without documentation. You are no more a criminal than you are if you've gotten a speeding ticket. You are no more a criminal than you are if you have gotten a jaywalking ticket. It is a civil violation. Donald Trump was found civilly liable for rape. He is not a criminal in that sense. He did not receive a criminal conviction. Now, people can say, well, he's done other things that appear to be criminal, but he was not convicted of being a criminal. He was only civilly found to commit rape.
Right. And the only reason, which is wild to me, the only reason that this even happened was because the statute of limitations was expired. That's it. Otherwise, we would be looking at a criminal case. Who cares about documentation? Is all just crazy that anyone even cares. I mean, it only makes sense if you're it only makes sense if you're a fascist government that's trying to divide and get the population used to who the quote other is going to be. In this case, undocumented people. Let's be honest, brown people. Immigration is a form of reparation. The West and the U.S. specifically owe people to take them in. Yep, garbage rule. Criminal activity doesn't go just go away after 12 years or whatever. Yep. Also, like with something like that, with something as serious as crimes that are sexual in nature, I mean, victims don't just come forward right away. And sadly, in a lot of cases, some not at all. They don't come forward at all. Frank Herbert died in 1986, so apparently most of all that went on after his death. Gotcha.
It is a greater offense than being in this country
Spam call.
Without documentation. So he's lying in terms of criminality.
Yeah.
But again, this has been the agenda of the Republicans, is that we're going to deport everybody. There's no difference between
we're going to deport like the brown people, right? Like that's really what we're talking about, because we're not talking about deporting, perhaps people of lighter complexion that may have overstayed their visas. We're not talking about those people. We're talking about rounding up a specific demographic and targeting them and making them the other. I hate when my phone rings. Me too. 99% of it is just spam. Like it literally says spam call.
actual criminal and a grandma who's been here for 20 years.
And you should have been able to decipher that, I think, if you were paying attention to politics at all, right? I mean,
only people who would talk about politics would be paying attention to something like that.
But we'll get to that later. But just to be the statistics on this, a 14 times growth in the number of people detained at any time without criminal histories by ICE under this administration for the first 6 months.
Yep. And it's only going to get worse as the effects of this one big beautiful bill start to happen when we get $170 billion moving towards these efforts. It can be any other group. We're looking at it as a nationality thing, really a race thing, but it could be a religious thing or a political thing. Yep.
I was with the president yesterday during the big, beautiful bill ceremony at the White House, and he made a mistake and let me to the microphone. We need that big, beautiful bill passed. Come listen to me. I'm telling you right now. They passed that bill. We're going to have more money than we ever had to do immigration enforcement. You think we're arresting people now? You wait till we get the funding to do what we got to do. And So when we get that funding, we can put more agents on the field, right? Because we need the money. It's going to help us hire more contract help. So it shouldn't be a badge and a gun sitting at a desk doing keystrokes or some administrative duty. That should be a contractor. The badge and gun needs to be on the street, looking for those national security threats and public safety threats.
This is just wild. I mean, like, to hear this and to see this, and behind a podium that says faith and freedom, while openly talking about rounding people up and ramping the police state, is wild. It is as Orwellian as it gets. It is very gross. Why does he look like a roll-on deodorant? I'm just me. Yeah, threats like a little girl with cancer? Yep. It is just a hate thing. While certainly planning to do great harm to prospective immigrants, they still very much plan to Holocaust LGBT people, plus blackmail with conclusive evidence likely motivated elevating him to president. Oh, 100%. Like, let me be very clear. They have no qualms about getting their hands on as many minority groups, including LGBTQ people, if they can and when they can, 100%. No doubt about it. All cops look like thumbs, but this guy, yeah, it's true. All cops may look like thumbs, but this guy definitely is the thummiest of all thumbs.
Oh, pause it. See, he keeps vacillating.
He's going to give us more
national security threat,
more
public safety threat. That's just anybody in this country who is undocumented, or anybody in this country who is documented, but maybe writing op-eds about Palestine, or anybody who in this.
Yeah, and also we can dispense with this idea that it's just about undocumented people, because like they're clearly making moves to try. I don't know how far they are going to succeed, but they are trying to make sure that there are more people that have been denaturalized to make them illegal. So it's not just like, oh, we just want people who are not supposed to be here out. Like, no, you're making people. You're making people undocumented by trying to denaturalize them. You're making people undocumented by taking away their legal protected status. I am a Christian and I cannot stomach seeing these charlatans putting Trump's unholy doctrine over the teachings of Christ. Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I've been kind of talking about this with Mrs. Truth. Like, this is not Christian. This is not the teachings of Jesus. I mean, like, there's an entire movement, entire Christian movement, dedicated to this idea that empathy is not Christian, and that hate is a virtue. Going completely against what Jesus actually talked about. I mean, like, if these people actually cared to follow what Jesus was actually saying, they wouldn't be talking like this. But the point being is that it's not about Christianity at this point. It's about it's about using this as a tool for control. Right, and unfortunately, because it is a religion, it happens to be a very effective tool at getting a mass amount of people to kind of behave like this. When I was a kid, I was raised Christian, and it wasn't like this. No, this is a movement that kind of, when I say recent, I mean like within like 10, maybe 15 years. Call it 20 people. Call it 20, maybe years. It's kind of been creeping, right? And it's not every Christian movement. But there is a radical evangelical, this Christian dominionism that has kind of warped and taken Christianity and used it as a weapon, because again, it's religion, and religion kind of by default you're kind of on the back foot, because you're kind of trained to believe stuff in faith, right? You believe stuff because of faith, i.e., no evidence. And unfortunately, religion can and is used as a tool. It's not about Christianity. We're not talking about the teachings of Christ, about the teachings of loving thy neighbor, the teachings of radical empathy, turn the other cheek, the teachings of how we should be feeding the poor, clothing the poor. I'm kind of paraphrasing, but something something to the effect of, for that which you do unto others, you do unto me, kind of deal. I just found out that several kids in our old neighborhood surrounded my 8-year-old and tried to exorcise a demon of her because she's not a believer. Jesus. Yikes. The point of DACA was as somewhere to deport people to have been stripped of citizenship but had no alternative nationality to be deported to. Yep. Evangelicalism is just rotten spiritual capitalism. I went to Dachau. It's an eye-opener. Yeah, I bet. That's something that a lot of people here seem to not grasp. Christianity is not really any sort of admirable thing whose reputation should be defended. Dominionism is at the very least more dangerous than the liberal stripes. Yeah, I agree. I'm just saying that, like, if you're gonna actually adhere to the teachings that you're purportedly trying to advocate for, then, like, you know, it may behoove you to actually behave in that manner, right? But that's not what this is about. This is about using religion, or the name, or the flag, or the banner, or the book, whatever, to use it as a weapon, because that's what it is. It's a method of control. It's a vehicle. It's a vehicle of control. And these people have found an exploit. Hey, we can grab a mass amount of people to believe this, and they will believe it because that's what God has commanded for us to take dominion of our country, and we have now got to engage or embark in this crusade, in this modern day crusade. My spouse went to Auschwitz in college. The place was so messed up. Yeesh.
This country
It was bigoted in various ways from day one.
who is documented, but said bad things about Donald Trump on social media.
Oh yeah, like even like, jeez, sound like a very loud thunder. Anyways, I mean, like, have you if you've ever been to a even the most like seemingly like milquetoast sermon, a Catholic sermon. I mean, like, I don't know. Has anyone like seen or been to like a Catholic mass? It's unbelievable. It gives off like cult vibes. It's very weird. Like when me as an adult, like watching this kind of stuff, it's just very, very, very culty stuff. It's a bit, it's a bit weird. It's gonna be a no from me. All religions are cults. I mean, like, it just doesn't flow. It just doesn't flow with me. Yeah, kneel, stand, sit, repeat the phrases. Yeah, and like listening to the crowd do the same thing and answer and know what to answer when the priest calls and the call and response, and watching the is it like altar boys or pallbearers? I'm sorry, the nomenclature is lost on me, but like them bringing up like the little the weird thing that they have with Jesus Christ. I mean, like, it's just kind of weird, man. It's just not me. I can't do it. The vibes feel so weird. If you circling back to Fallout, if you've played Fallout and you've met the Children of Adam cult, it's kind of like that. Like a female drone operator, so proud. Bet you haven't been to a church where they speak tongues. Yes, I have, and that freaked me. That freaked me out. That freaked me out. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, what is going on here, and why, and how did you manage? And how did you manage to be able to do this? Like what language are you speaking? Like, how do you think that you are communicating with God, or God is communicating through you? With the tongue. I mean, like, it's just bizarre, man. It's bizarre, and it gives me super red flags. Like, you know, like when you walk into an area or just, I don't know, like maybe a party, or maybe, I don't know, some kind of gathering, and then like you just step into the area and something feels wrong. And the vibe just kind of like, just something in the back of your head is like, should I be here? This seems kind of weird. That's kind of the vibes I get. Roman Catholicism was illegitimate. Aistulf's execution of Eutychus was not legitimate grounds for the donation of Pepin. It's pretty widespread in Southeast Asia. Yeah, I mean, it is something else. If you've seen people speak in tongues or pretend to, because I just can't. I don't know if this is something that they truly, legitimately believe that is happening through them, or if they're just shouting gibberish. But in any case, yeah, it's super bizarre. And if you've ever been there, the vibes all off. I was in that type of church as a kid, and the vibes were completely off. I was uncomfortable every time I went. It just wasn't right. The vibe check was not passed. I will say I'm not religious at all, but I do enjoy pretty church buildings. Some of the best artists of the day worked on them. Oh, I mean, the art you can always appreciate regardless.
They've already made it clear. I mean, they've already done it. everybody here who is documented, who's a non-citizen but documented, we can revoke that at any moment and deport them.
They're talking about it in the relation with Mom Donnie saying because he came to the country as a child, they could deport him.
They want to denaturalize. That's going to be the next thing.
Yep.
Good.
So that's going to give us more boots on the ground. It's going to give us more beds. This morning I looked at the beds. We got about 1,400 empty beds. 1,400. We'll fill them by tomorrow. So we're playing this chess game. We got to move people out and put people in. No, we need 100,000 beds so I can fill 100,000 beds, and we're going to move them as fast as we can. But we need more beds so we don't. In the morning we say, okay, well we only got this many beds, so let's only rest with so many people. No, we should be coming to work every day saying, get everybody you can get, and we got the bed waiting. That's where we need to get to.
That's some wild stuff. Again, just to be clear, this shouldn't be surprising to anybody, given who these ghouls are. But it should be chilling, and it should, concern people every time the administration says stuff like that. Because, again, let's be clear of what they want. They want to mass incarcerate and deport people because they are bigoted and xenophobic and hateful. That's what this is all about. There's nothing else, okay? And to reach that goal, they are doing more and more radical things, up to and including trying, again, I don't know how far they're going to push this, but they're certainly going to try to take citizenship away from people for this purpose. It's not surprising, but geez, yeah, it should be shocking. Yes, each and every time you hear, this is not normal, is my point. This is not normal. Hearing Tom Homan speak like this is not normal. Hearing Donald Trump speak like this is not normal. And it should not be normalized. I know I've said this like a million times. I'm pretty sure most of you have heard. But yeah, this is not normal. It should not be surprising, but it should be shocking each and every time. And it should send chills. It's chilling. I mean, I'm hearing this, and they're talking about me. They're talking about my family. Churches as libraries and homes are cool too. Just tuning out this guy. I trust me. If that's all I could do, I would love to just never hear from this guy ever again. The so-called Byzantine Empire was the Roman Empire after the loss of the Western Province and founding city. He also went to mass incarcerate and mass execute LGBT people at the same time as mass incarcerating and doing population transfers of migrants. Yeesh.
This type of talk is so twisted. They're going to fill it with grandmothers, with kids, with parents.
Yep. And again, they're not going to fill it with criminals because there's not that many criminals, really. When you're talking about immigrants as a whole, never mind the Latino community, but immigrants as a whole, there's not a lot of criminals, right? Not really. If you were to ask this guy, how many members of Tren de Aragua actually exist in the United States, he wouldn't know, or he would lie about it. But the reality is, it's less than 500. Okay, it's less than 500. If that. We're talking maybe, as far as we know, a couple hundred people.
You don't care.
Yeah, we're here for the truth. I just needed a moment. Completely understandable. This is rough stuff.
They're talking about people as if they're cattle.
No, he's talking about it as if he's a private prison executive.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
That, by the way, just save us the time. And I know that's his audition tape, but like, you know, maybe somebody else can just put together some compilation of him trying to get a multi-million-dollar contract from a private prison company, because that was a little bit explicit, what he was trying to do there. That's what he's saying. It's a problem that our concentration camps aren't filled to the brim, and there's got to be people that get rich off of that.
Now,
Right. And again, like, the implication is like it's important to us that these camps are filled no matter how they fill the prisons with only 500 people. Right. You make up the other 4,500 of them to make those beds, to make the 5,000 bed camp in Florida anyways.
it is easy to look at the clip that we just shared of Tom Homan speaking at the Faith
millions
and
and
Freedom
millions.
Coalition from 2 weeks ago, saying, we're going to arrest everybody. We're not just going to arrest, rapists and violent criminals. If you are undocumented, you are a criminal in his eyes.
Yep, and if there's not enough, then we'll make more undocumented. A trans Latino anchor baby is not going to have anything good done to them, hence why I fled the country prior to the inauguration, and I was well vindicated by Musk's Hitler group on that day. I don't freaking blame you. I don't blame you, Nadia. I'm glad that you had to do what you had to do for your safety. And I don't blame you at all. I don't blame you at all. Trump talks about these people like they're stock options that he wants to unload.
If you are even documented and you do stuff that we don't like, you are a criminal in his eyes. And so we're going to deport all these people. Now, if you have not paid attention to the news at all, if you are not somebody who interviews political figures, if you're not somebody who reads the newspaper, if you're not somebody who watches any type of media that would show what Donald Trump has been campaigning on, if you are not someone who was aware that Donald Trump came down and said, Mexicans are rapists, I'm sure some of them aren't. If you're not anybody who has a platform that talks about politics, it's possible you may not have been aware of this. Or, I guess, if you've been willfully ignorant, like this guy.
Insane. We were just told there would be no. There's two things that are insane.
Oh, wow. I would want Tom Homan speaking in my own church, just as I'd just as soon have R. Kelly there. At least R. Kelly might sing a song. Not obviously, apparently Hitler group is pronounced Hitler Grusa. Hitler Grusa. Now start with deporting Elon Musk. It's a German word for Hitler salutes. Gotcha.
One is the targeting of migrant workers, not cartel members, not gang members, not drug dealers, just construction workers.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Although, unfortunately, it does me no good that he's trying to come out or pretend to come out against this when you helped create this situation. Like, what did you think this meant? What did you think they meant? Is Rogan woke now? So Joe did a whoopsies. Yep, he did. Kyle eviscerated him. And deport Tom McDonald. Tom McDonald is asked back to Canada how Trump could use that threat in trade talks.
Showing up in construction sites and raiding them. Gardeners.
Yeah.
Like, really?
Or Palestinian students on college.
Yeah, man, really. Like, what did you think was going to happen? Everybody told you, right? Like, everybody on the left was saying this was going to happen. In fact, you didn't even have to believe us. They were saying it themselves. What did you think Trump was campaigning on? When he was talking about building the largest mass deportation program in the history of the country. What did you think he meant by that? You didn't even need the left to tell you that. They were saying what exactly they were going to do. It wasn't a secret. He campaigned on it. Joe's developing buyer's remorse. Let it grow and progress. Joe Rogan just goes with the wind that brings him money. That's why I don't really care for Joe Rogan. I mean, like, he'll just agree with however the wind blows is how Joe Rogan's gonna do. And unfortunately, that is doing a lot of harm because he's not taking the time, and he's been doing this for years. He doesn't take the time to do actual critical thinking. He's not there to do that, actually. So as long as he's going to be like this, it's very much a exercise. It's very much an exercise in futility. Now, if Joe Rogan like genuinely does a true 180, then we can have that conversation again. But that's on Joe Rogan. Maybe they'd figured he'd be as successful as he was at building the wall. Egg on their faces. Yep.
Campuses, or not. Like, there's a did you see this video of this Turkish students at Tufts University that wrote an essay, and then there's a video of like ICE agents, like, I don't know.
Is that the woman?
Yeah.
What was her essay about? It was just critical of Israel, right?
It's critical of Israel. Yeah, I mean,
and that's enough to get you kicked out of the country.
There's a long history of.
And like, what did you think that was like make believe? Like, did you think that Trump was kidding? I'm confused. Maybe your political opinion shouldn't come from a third-rate comedian from the 90s. Yeah, from the Fear Factor, host, UFC commentator, alleged comedian from the 90s. Maybe that's not the person we should be taking seriously. But millions of people do, and it has an impact, and it's frustrating. Pink Floyd built a bigger wall than Trump.
Of anti-colonial activism in U.S. colleges, that led to South Africa changing and all of that, and I think this is a continuation of that.
I saw Mark Ruffalo responded to this clip actually on social media, and he was like, "You're either not this smart or you're not this dumb. Pick one."
Exactly.
Pick one.
Now, listen, I wanted to see if there was any possible way, if there was any type of sign,
Right.
for instance, that we could have had.
Putting aside the Trump being a known liar for his entire political career, and that being arguably the defining characteristic about him as a public figure. Say that Rogan believed, because they had a one-on-one conversation, that he has put that all behind him and he's a new man. New man. He's not going to lie anymore, right? That
Well,
he's just going to take him at his word.
I just want to see if there was any way that we could have had a sign prior to the election that mass deportations.
Yeah, if there was that, if maybe if we would have known. World-class misogynist, don't forget. Yep. Watching him on Fear Factor as a kid, I never would have expected him to have a podcast like this. Even then, I could totally tell he only had 2 brain cells to rub together.
Were part of the undergirding of Trump's support and part of their mandate. If there was some type of sign. So, Brian, Google, I don't know, mass deportation signs.
Oh, I did that. Oh, hey, I did that. I just did that. Former UFC fighter Chael Sonnen used to roast Rogan mercilessly in post-fight interviews, and Joe said nothing back because Sonnen would have deposited him on Mars.
Oh,
Way ahead of you there.
oh, there you go. Let's keep going through here. We're scrolling through the. Oh, those are almost as if like a political party printed those signs, and it was at, what was it? Oh, the Republican convention.
Yep.
Or a Trump rally. I mean, on and on and on and on and on.
That's a sign in the literal sense.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like this, whatever it is that Joe Rogan thinks is depressing his viewership, and all of a sudden this indignation about this stuff. I mean, people have to understand, he's just a businessman. He doesn't give a shit about any of it.
I bet he cares about the tax breaks.
No, I bet you he cares about the tax breaks. I wonder if he had no idea that there was going to be tax breaks if Donald Trump got. I had no idea.
Yeah, and like again, if you're gonna make political commentary, right? Because Joe, presumably, like I wouldn't consider Joe Rogan like a political commentator, not really. He is media for sure. He is media. He is part of the media sphere, but he's not solely like a political like talking head, like say, the Majority Report is, right? But he makes comments on politics. And if you're going to make comments on politics, it would behoove you to know what the heck you're talking about. Okay? And this is 2025. Okay, this is 2025. You're a grown man. You're a grown adult. This is not, you can't like, oh, he just didn't know and he's coming to, like, no, man, this has been known for years. Like, let's be so for real right now. Okay, please.
He knows.
Yeah, he's a personality now.
I just don't think he's that stupid. I listen. I will agree that he doesn't read anything other than is presented to him by his, right-wing buddies or billionaire sycophants. But I don't think he's that stupid. In the meantime, in the ramp up for these new ICE officers coming, because this is coming, And to the extent that they
ostensibly a grown adult. And not just that, but a millionaire. You're a legend. You're on legendary difficulty. Yep. You literally have a freedom most of us can only fantasize and die fantasizing about. Yep. I mean, like, I don't know what $1 million looks like, let alone tens of millions of dollars. Heck, I don't even know what $100,000 looks like. Does Rogan even have that fact checker anymore? Is that guy still there? Jamie, pull up. No, I don't. Presumably he still does. You know, and it's in those moments where there's some lucidity that happens, but like it doesn't. He's still not getting it. And at this point, it's like, dude,
or in any way,
your apologies, your coming to Jesus moments are kind of useless to me if you keep falling for it again, right? Like, oops, fall for it again. Every other episode, when some light seems to shine through. What are facts anymore?
Holding back, which I don't know that they were. We're going to see more and more arrests. I mean, now it's like it's a story if you see ICE working in your city. I guarantee you in 6 months, it's going to be a story if you don't see ICE for a day.
I mean, the people of Los Angeles right now are being terrorized.
Yep.
Terrorized.
I know there was a meeting in where activists are meeting folks like Chicago, talking and communicating with LA activists about the way that you can confront ICE, the way that you can protest. There's a lot of good work that's being done by people on the street. More people have to join them. More people are going to have to get involved in this, and they're going to have to do it relatively quickly.
Yep.
Here is an easy thing for folks to do. I've mentioned this app before.
Lucy won't take the football away this time.
It's called Ice Block. MSNBC, I think it was NBC or MSNBC. MSNBC did an interview with the developer of Ice Block.
Josh, are you not concerned that the administration might come after you personally for the development of this app?
I think whenever you push back against a regime that is purporting authoritarianism, pushing fascism, and subverting the rule of law in our Constitution, if you push back against them, you have to know they're going to come after you in some way. And I say, go ahead, come after me. You can demonize me all you want. You can demonize the app all you want. But the reality is, it's protected speech under the First Amendment. There's nothing illegal about creating this app, and there's nothing illegal about using the app. We are not purporting violence against anybody. This is simply an early warning system. And if your viewers liken it to something easy to understand, think of Waze or think of Apple Maps. When you can report a speed trap up ahead, what do? You slow down when you see that warning. And this is the same kind of thing. So if you see a warning that ICE has been cited, just turn around and keep yourself and your family safe.
Yep.
All right, Joshua Aaron, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Check it out. Ice Block.
Brave dude indeed.
I think it's only available on iOS right now. Jester from Jersey says, Sam, are you 100% sure Ice Block is safe? It's hard to tell one way or another, but I have seen reels on Instagram saying certain details about Ice Block are suspicious. I mean, look, I don't know. I can't say for 100% assuredness, but I can tell you that every app you have, short of the Majority Report app, has I think it's called an IDK, which basically tracks you in some fashion. I know Apple now has a thing where they'll ask you if you don't want the app to track you. It will track you, but it doesn't know. And I imagine if they wanted to, they could get demographic information from you in the same way that every app can. But, and I also imagine that there may be sometimes people putting up false sightings. But, you know, cops, I imagine, sometimes do that with Waze. So I think, by and large, my guess is it's relatively safe.
Yeah, not to be confused with fake blog.
I don't think that these, whatever the conspiracies are about it, I find it hard to believe that there's much information there. It is really very basic. In you don't have to sign in, you don't give an email, et cetera, et cetera. He says it doesn't track any info and it's used anonymously. That's the developer's word, though. So grain of salt says Progressive Blob 2028. Yeah, I take it with a grain of salt, but I think on balance, it's a risk that's willing to take. Listen, none of the stuff that progressively we're going to have to start doing is going to be without risk. The best you can do is get a decent assessment of what that risk is and make an assessment as to whether that risk is worth it. Until I have more information that the app is somehow, you know, problematic or compromised or something to that effect, it's not tracking me any more or less than my weather app is, frankly. So I use it. I'm waiting. I'm walking around constantly looking for ice now. Every time I'm on the subway, I'm like scanning everybody, getting ready to take a video. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our day.
Yep. So we're gonna go over a couple of these headlines. I think I got two before we get out of here. Families and immigrant detainees allege horrible conditions at Alligator Auschwitz, or Alligator concentration camp. Miami-Dade County Mayor Daniela Cava sent a letter to Florida's Attorney General requesting access and monitoring of the detention site, which was built on county land. So, yeah, I think we're gonna get more of these stories, and each time we need to talk about it each and every time, because it's inevitable at this point that we're going to hear about the horrible conditions in these concentration camps. Taking all of Musk's money away and deporting him to the townships to live among and know better than the people he called Kafirs for the first half or third of his life would be poetic justice. If he's so lucky. Immigrant detainees and their loved ones, come back, are denouncing what they allege are terrible conditions, including lack of water, issues with electricity, and copious mosquitoes at the state-managed immigration concentration camp facility in the Florida Everglades that officials have named Alligator Alcatraz. Vladimir Miranda, a migrant from Cuba who has been at the facility since Sunday, said that right now the generators apparently can't cope and the electricity is going out. He told Telemundo via telephone call, when the electricity goes out, there's no water, and the phones and air conditioners don't work, and we're here sweating profusely. His girlfriend, Evelyn Ortiz, told NBC6 that Miranda crossed the U.S.-Mexico border and, like many Cuban migrants, was given an I-228 form that documents that a migrant has been released into the U.S. by ICE. He had a final hearing 2 weeks ago, but days later, Miranda, 32, was detained by immigration officials at his job in Orlando and moved to the Everglades facility. How's the news? Hope all is getting better. That's no, not. Now I'm afraid it's not. But as Heat says, The hope being that eventually it will. Yeah, define better. Welcome, Wolf Glenn. Gotta hope. Oh, I have hope. Can't lose that. Can't lose hope. The conditions that they're going through are horrible. They don't have water. They can't use the bathroom properly. They're not taking a bath. Miranda hadn't had access to immigration attorneys. Miranda's allegations echo other detainee accounts. Lemzi Izquierdo, also known as Lemzi La Figura, a self-described Cuban urban artist, has been at the detention center since Friday. There's no water here to bathe, said Izquierdo in Spanish from inside the facility, adding it's been 4 days since he's showered. Izquierdo also alleged that they give you food only once a day. Food even has worms in it. I mean, like, again, this is wild. And I suspect that stories like this and the conditions that these human beings are being forced to endure, or we're gonna see more stories like this and more accounts as this goes on. Mind you, it hasn't even been a week, right? When did this thing open? Like last week? Detention center lights are always on 24/7, which is torture, people. This is torture. And mosquitoes are the size of elephants. Izquierdo said they're not allowed to go outside, and the tents detainees are kept in are freezing. According to Izquierdo's partner, he's a permanent resident. He was sent to the facility following assault and battery charge involving a dispute with a tow company worker. He's pleaded not guilty to the charges. Several other detainees at the facility have made similar complaints. A Colombian national said he's been there for 3 days without access to medicine that he needs. Stephanie Hartman, deputy director of the Communications of the Florida Division of Emergency Management, said in an email to NBC South Florida that the reporting on the conditions in the facility is completely false. The facility meets all required standards and is good working order. So you can definitely assume the opposite. The Christo-fascists are using the power of the state they've hijacked to add, starting global nuclear holocaust to domestic, anti-Latino, anti-black, anti-LGBT holocaust, and Handmaid's Tale mass rape. Yep. Looney Tunes, welcome. This space, Dieter and Alex are live. Don't worry, we'll be heading there soon, folks. NBC News also reached out to ICE, but a spokesperson said they cannot talk about detainees who are not in one of their facilities. The Everglades Detention Center is run by the state. Yeah, okay, whatever. There's even a cringy sign. Are those standards from 1940s Germany for a camp? Yep. That's what they mean by is in working order and up to standards. That's what they mean. Correct, Wolf Glenn. Correct. The Florida Immigration Coalition is urging Miami-Dade County Mayor Daniela Levine Cava to file a lawsuit against the state with the hopes that the detention center will be shut down. Levine Cava, a Democrat, sent a letter to the Florida Attorney General James Zuthmeier, a Republican, stating the land owned by the county has been commandeered by the state and requesting access to the facility. She asked for a weekly site report summarizing conditions at the facility, remote video monitoring access, and scheduled visits by small oversight teams so it can check for compliance, safety, and possible environmental impacts. Whether or not this is going to happen remains to be seen. It's probably not going to happen because I'm sure that if more eyes start being on this concentration camp, more horror stories are going to be reported. And I'm thinking that they're probably not going to allow that or going to try to keep that hidden for as long as possible. We're just going to go over this really quickly. Supreme Court clears the way for Trump to downsize the federal workforce. The Supreme Court has decided that the president can unilaterally fire people in mass. This is going to affect hundreds of thousands of people. And, of course, this is going along with perfectly with Project 2025, with the reorganization of the executive and the rapid consolidation of power to Trump. Unfortunately, there's a good chance that the camp is getting hit by a hurricane this year, and of course, if it does, I mean, like, it is a very real possibility that a lot of people are going to die if they are not evacuated. If that concentration camp gets hit by a hurricane, a lot of people are going to die. That camp is going to get wiped out. And I suspect that nobody's going to sit there and evacuate or take the time or humanity to evacuate those people. All federal employees only compromise 4.4% of the federal budget. And yet, yeah, I guess that's what we're being sold to claim that we're saving money or whatever. But yeah, I personally, I don't know. It seems to me like this, this is more about consolidation of power, than anything, right? Getting rid of as many people as possible, and the ones that are going to remain will probably be loyal to your leader. They didn't during Katrina, and they won't this time either. Yep. I got you, Looney Tunes. 1 second. There you go. I don't know why these commands, like, even if you type it out on YouTube, it only works. It only works if you type it on the Twitch chat. Anyways, we'll be monitoring this, but supreme disappointment. It doesn't seem very good. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson was the only dissenting vote, accusing her colleagues of a demonstrated enthusiasm for greenlighting this president's legally dubious actions in an emergency posture. A dangerous precedent to set. Indeed, she's right. Jackson warned of an enormous real-world consequences. This executive action promises mass employee terminations, widespread cancellation of federal programs and services, and the dismantling of much of the federal government as Congress has created it. Yep. The Heritage Foundation is running the vetting process, seemingly mostly for theological compliance. I mean, that tracks. That tracks for the Heritage Foundation. Elena Kagan voted for it? Yep. The case now continues in Illinois court, in Ilston's court. Supreme Court blocks part of Florida's immigration law. The U.S. Supreme Court, Sotomayor too. Yeah, I think she was the only one. She was the only dissenting vote. Another Supreme Court ruling on Wednesday today left in place a lower court decision that blocked part of Florida law, making it a crime for undocumented immigrants to cross into the state. The statute imposed various mandatory prison terms for violating the law. The High Court's action came in a one-sentence order without any elaboration and without any noted dissents. Florida Governor DeSantis signed the state legislation into law in February, and just 2 months after the law made national headlines. 2 months later, the law made national headlines when Florida Highway Patrol arrested Juan Carlos Lopez Garcia, an American-born U.S. citizen, for crossing into the state from Georgia. Lopez Garcia was detained for 24 hours before his release. Immigrant rights and rights organizations and undocumented immigrants sued, arguing that the new Florida law conflicted with federal immigration law, and under the long-standing Supreme Court precedent, states must bow to federal law in the event of such conflicts. However, Florida, however, maintained that the state legislation is necessary to curb the evil effects of immigration, brown people, and the state law works in tandem with the federal law. Until now, however, the Supreme Court has held that the federal law occupies immigration field if there is a conflict. Florida is not the first state to pass a law criminalizing illegal immigration, only to be blocked by the federal courts. In recent years, federal judges have blocked similar state efforts in Oklahoma, Iowa, Idaho, each time deciding that state law criminalizing illegal immigration would conflict with existing national laws. In 2024, the conservative Fifth Court of Appeals blocked Texas efforts to enforce a similar law. While the Wednesday Supreme Court order blocked parts of the law championed by DeSantis, the immigration issue remains a winning proposition for the governor. In May, he announced that in collaboration with the Department of Homeland Security, Florida led a first-of-its-kind statewide operation, arresting more than 1,000 undocumented immigrants in less than a week. So, yeah. Echo Rest the Dragon. So for more context, the court's decision will keep the law on hold while legal challenges continue. Who was it that said, I don't hate Democrats because I like Republicans. I hate Democrats because they are Republicans. I don't know. I mean, I would say, like, clearly that's not 100% the case, even though the Democrats have done some incredibly ghoulish stuff. it's more of a, I don't want folks to lose sight as to who is doing this, who's actually doing this. I mean, like, you can say that the Democrats have been spineless and useless, and in some cases even paved the path. But ultimately, Republicans are Republicans, and this is a modern day fascist party. Morning Joe said it. Gotcha. It's a clear example of rhetorically effective hyperbole. Yeah, I mean, like, I get that. Like, for example, the language, the language that was being used in terms of immigration. Yeah, I mean, like, this attempt, if you're trying to criticize, like, for example, if you're trying to criticize, like, this concept that for some reason democratic strategists have deluded themselves to believe that if maybe they act a little bit more, quote, Republican, then, like, they'll get more voters. It's like, no, we don't want Republican stuff. We don't want you doing Republican stuff. If we wanted you to do Republican stuff, we would be voting Republican. Stop doing that. Then, like, I get that. I get that criticism. Yeah, the super predator comment, was that, I'm pretty sure it was what, Hillary Clinton? I want to say. Yeah, I mean the Republican Joe Scarborough. James Carville's the Prince of Darkness on that front. Jesus. That does not sound like the Morning Joe that Biden allegedly hung on every word of. Wednesday's Supreme Court order was the latest blow for Urtha Meyer in a month-long battle. In June, Williams found the DeSantis appointee to be in contempt for instructing officers to continue enforcing this law despite the judge's order to stop the enforcement. If being held in contempt is what costs to defend the rule of law, I stand firm behind President Trump's agenda on illegal immigration, so be it. So, yeah, that's where we're at. We'll see what happens with this law, but I'm thinking not much matters in the grand scheme of things, because if they're openly defying courts, I guess it doesn't matter what the courts say. I brought it super predators because of the bits about language as a factor. Oh, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, that was an incredibly racist thing to say by Hillary Clinton, no doubt about it. I'm just making sure that we're pointing the blame mostly towards Republicans. And I don't think, despite how bad Democrats are, I don't think it's this useful to kind of say that they are the same thing. James Carville, so right wing, got a free multi-year subscription to Palantir Predictive Policing for the New York Police, and even got hired by them as a consultant. Carville's on Thiel's payroll. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not surprised that a lot of these, a lot of this dark money is also within the Democratic Party. Does that make sense? I mean, yesterday we even went over that article about one of the top consultants for the Harris campaign complaining that one of the reasons why she lost was because she didn't differentiate herself enough from Joe Biden. And of course, the reason why is because she wasn't tough on immigration. And it was bad that she didn't call out Joe Biden for not for shutting down schools in COVID. So I get that. Thiel's a massive right-wing power player and has bought out the top Democratic Party consultant. I wouldn't consider Carville a top Democratic Party consultant, but I certainly would think that he is someone that has some influence in the Democratic Party, clearly. In any case, yeah, that is a valid criticism. The Democratic Party needs to get away from this consultant brain influence that oftentimes are brought around by people like Peter Thiel, and like the other side of that is like the abundance movement, which is currently making some waves, or was, I don't know at this point. But yeah, I completely agree that they should get rid of that influence, and they should jettison people entirely, like Carville. 100%. Of course, assuming that what they want to do is win elections, presumably, right? Last time Carville has been correct about politics was before Bill Clinton was elected. Sheesh. He has been he has overstayed his visit. in politics, as far as I'm concerned. I know. Since before Clinton was elected, that's before even that's before even I was alive. Presumably. Elections are rigged shams and transparent travesties anyways. Well, I mean, I see it as a tool, right? I see participating in electoral politics as a tool. Whether it's the end all be all, it kind of can't be, right? Direct action always is necessary. Direct action is always necessary. People-powered movements is what gets the goods, like the civil rights movement, like the feminist movement. Like the gay rights movement. But you should participate in electoralism as a tool. In some cases, in some instances, especially in local elections, it really matters. It actually really matters, especially when you get to directly, as a society, decide something like, for example, a constitutional amendment in your state, or what they call ballot measures, or ballot initiatives. That's one of the rare tools or times where elections really do change stuff. The Wisconsin Supreme Court election. Because of that, Wisconsin is on the path to banning conversion therapy for good. So yeah, there are instances where it matters. And I would say that relying on electoralism is not the complete picture. Direct action is always going to be necessary. But you should still participate when, if you can. Oh, no doubt. I don't dispute that, Nadia. Dirty, dirty business. The whole Nixon era. It's possible we won't have the privilege in the future. Yep. Local elections affect you more directly than federal. Yep. All right, folks, it's past 7:30. I gotta get out of here. folks, thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate you guys being here. You guys are what makes this channel go. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for your support. Thank you to Eager for the tier 1 sub. Thank you to a couple of the offline follows as well. Thank you to the folks on Twitch. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you to the folks on YouTube. Keep liking the stream, doing the things, you know. Sharing, subscribing, all that awesome stuff. Oh, well, the DNC is a whole other... The DNC is a whole other problem. The DNC is a whole other... That is a whole other problem that we can... that we can talk about, and the issues with the DNC and its undemocratic nature. I don't disagree with that at all. Exactly, a la Bernie. I mean, I'm not surprised. I didn't really know how that went down in the Jackson. How that was done with the Wallace and Truman thing. But that doesn't surprise me. That is a whole other entire conversation. Moanep, thank you. The 1944 DNC is a different order of magnitude. That year mattered. Yeah, and the 2016 year mattered to keep Trump from putting us on the path to fascism. And they rigged that. Primary too. I don't dispute that. Don't you lose your place at this space. The USA has been in fascism since the day FDR died. Yep. It's a project that takes a long time. Gabriel Rockhill has a lecture, Are Liberalism and Fascism Partners in Crime? That's actually a pretty good conversation. Because, I mean, like, liberalism, or as we know it as an ideology, is woefully incompetent to fight fascism, as we've seen time and time again. Now, are they partners in crime? Maybe. Is liberalism a path to fascism? I'm not sure. But certainly liberalism, you know, the saying, scratch a liberal and a fascist bleeds. Is it because liberals believe in capitalism and therefore inherently accept a hierarchical kind of top-down society? Liberalism accelerates and enables the road to fascism. Right. I mean, because, like, obviously these are two different ideologies, right? They're different names. Liberalism and fascism are both different. But I think that is an interesting conversation with tiers of privilege and oppression. That's the title of his lecture. He takes issues in directions beyond that. That's something I'd be interested in listening to. That is an interesting conversation. All right, folks, I got to get out of here. It is past 7:30. So I'm way past here, folks. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. Thank you, Heat. Thank you, Michael Hasser, for modding the chat. I appreciate it. If you want to support the channel directly, as Michael Hasser put there, check out the merch store, hit !tip, Substack, Discord. And check out this space. I'll put the link again for those of you on YouTube. Go check out this space. It's on YouTube. No worries, I can find it. I'm going to see what Ben Dixon is saying. Peace. Check it out. Ben Dixon, by the way, a contributor to this space. All right, folks. I got to get out of here. Thank you all once again. Thank you, Heat. Thank you, Michael Hasser, for modding the chat. I appreciate all of you being here. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow about 5 p.m. Eastern Time. See ya. Hang tight, folks. Appreciate it, Ground Level News, Ladybug. All right, folks, hang tight. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye. That's right. See you in the chat.